Hello, everyone. It's another Wednesday. It's another 11 a.m., somewhere at least in the world. Um, Today is going to be, as always, fun. We have good questions, two more general ones, and one very specific on how to work on lower back issues, which I'm really looking forward to. Let's get it on.
Hi, everyone. So we spoke previously about big muscles having big jobs, and we mostly spoke about quality versus quantity. We touched that aspect in previous weeks. Um, Today, I would love us to dive deeper into the attachments of the big muscles and what exactly those attachments can tell us about the role of the muscles.
Mhm. So I have a very revolutionary idea, which is I think bigger muscles should do more work and smaller muscles should do less work. Um, it doesn't sound very revolutionary. That's true, but that's actually not how training is structured nowadays. We talked about which muscles are actually bigger. We covered that already. And today we're going to talk about this is not only about size, but the fascinating part about those bigger muscles are where they're attached. So, why is that important? First things first. In my world, muscles move bones. That means once you control what muscles can do and which muscles to use, you will control where bones will move. All right. So, for example, to avoid an overextension of the back or knees rolling in or whatever depositioning of bones you can see, that's ultimately about controlling muscles. And surprisingly, muscles are the one thing we can, that's not the one thing, but one of the rare things we can actually voluntarily control. And I think that's why training is so important. All right. Um, Funny enough, the big muscles. So let's sum them up real quick. Not all of them, but most of them. The pecs, the lats, the obliques, the glutes, and the hamstrings. To name probably for my five most important ones. Those are not only the biggest muscles in your body, they also attach on the big bones, which is not a bad indicator for controlling stuff. So how does it work? Very scientifically speaking. Muscles attach on bones through tendons. Bones are connected with ligaments. That's basically how it works. So a muscle is always attached with a tendon to a bone. And that's why those muscle attachments are so important because it matters where actually the muscles attach. Let's take an example from the lats, where they attach. So whether it's on the inside of the bone or the outside of the bone, on the scapula or not on the scapula of the big arm bone, etc. So we're not going to go into every detail now because it's going to be covered in the book. But all the big muscles that we're focusing on in training also attach on the big bones that we want to control. Let's take the lats. So the lats attach on your big arm bone, so on the back side of your arm. They also attach on the scapula. They also attach on the rib cage. They also attach on the pelvis. So it's not only big, it also has the potential to control those muscles through those attachments, right? And that's why positions with tension is so important because just because you move your bones somewhere, let's say I can bring my shoulder blades together, which technically, anatomically speaking, textbook wise, is a certain action of your muscle, right? But I can do this with very low amount of tension being created. I can also squeeze my lats as hard as I can and do the same motion. Technically, from the outside, it's the same stuff happening, but in training, it's a completely different world. And obviously, we're headed towards teaching our people tension and how to move bones in the right direction. So that's why attachments are so important. Those five muscles that I've just mentioned are part of the chain three, the muscle chain three, which is the very basic that we start with every person. And I think that's the ultimate goal in training. Get to neutral hip, use those five muscles to get to neutral hip, forget everything else that you've ever heard about training. That's the only goal you should focus on for probably the first 3 to 5 years, or if you're just training twice to three times a week for the rest of your life. That's all you need to do. Skip all the mobility exercises, foot rolling exercises, additional work is not necessary. So that's why attachment is important to us, because it's a literal proof of, hey, this guy, this big muscle has the potential to control those bones. That's the big buzz and the big story about the muscle attachments.